Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay, and Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous, caressable hair bring you Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden.
It's time once again for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks, written by Al Lewis. Well, many of the nation's schools commence a new semester on Monday. And Madison High School, where Our Miss Brooks teaches English, is one of them. Although the others usually dispense with classes on the last day or two of the old term, Madison did not.
No, indeed. Our beloved principal, Osgood Conklin, saw to that. In fact, he was quite chagrined when a cloudburst last Friday kept almost all of the student body at home. Even members of the faculty didn't get down, except a handful of teachers, me. Since Mr. Conklin didn't show up until quite late, I took it upon myself to dismiss the few soaked pupils who were floating around the halls. Saturday morning at breakfast, I discussed the situation with my landlady.
And what did Mr. Conklin say when you told him you had canceled school for the day, Connie?
He didn't say a word, Mrs. Davis, until he came down off the ceiling. Then he accused me of usurping his function as a principal and throwing a monkey wrench into his plan for getting the jump on the other schools.
What sort of plan did he have, Connie?
Well, he felt that schedules should be revised and classes assigned before the first day of the new semester. Hence, we have all been invited to appear at school today.
But this is Saturday, Connie. Mr. Conklin hasn't the authority to make anybody come to school.
He doesn't make anybody come. He's put it on a voluntary basis. For both the student body and the faculty, it's strictly optional.
Really?
Of course. Come or die.
I can't understand some of you teachers, Connie. Why do you let Mr. Conklin drive you this way? What are you all? A bunch of geese?
I don't know about the others, but don't be surprised if some morning you find a feather by my empty bed. You see, Mrs. Davis, I've been in so much trouble with Mr. Conklin during the past term. I don't dare start the new one off on the wrong foot. Oh, that's probably Walter Denton. He's giving down to school. Come in, Walter.
It certainly is nice of Walter to call for you this morning.
Yes, it is, considering that I made it quite clear to him that his driving me was strictly optional.
Really?
Of course. Be here or flunk.
Hi, Mrs. Davis. And to you, most revered and admired of all local educators, I bow deeply from the waist.
Thank you, and get your head out of the milk pitcher. Sit down, Walter. I'll pour you a glass.
Oh, thanks.
Would you like something else, Walter?
What have you got?
Oh, cereal, eggs, sausage, bacon, toast.
And that'll be fine.
Obviously, you haven't had anything to eat since breakfast.
Oh, that's right, Miss Brooks. Over an hour ago.
A growing boy should eat a lot, especially if you want to grow up and be big and strong like Hopalong Cassidy.
If Hopalong Cassidy ate like Walter, he'd never make it to the saddle.
That's a good one.
I'll go fix a nice plate for you, Walter. Oh, how do you take your eggs?
4 in the mouth and 6 intravenously.
Gosh, Miss Brooks, you make me sound like a pig. Just scramble a few with some bacon and sausages, Mrs. Davis, please.
All right, dear.
Well, this is great. What better way to start off the day than a resounding second breakfast with my favorite school teacher?
For a kid who's going to school on Saturday, you sound pretty chipper, Walter.
Ah, but that's where you're wrong, Miss Brooks. I'm not going to school today. None of the students are. We held a mass meeting last night and decided that the only course to pursue was open rebellion.
What?
The issues are clear, Miss Brooks. If we let old Marblehead haul us into school today...
Now, just a minute, Walter. I won't have you referring to the principal of our school in such a disrespectful manner.
I'm sorry, Miss Brooks, but... Well, don't you see? If we submit to his demand that we attend school on Saturday, what's to prevent him from dragging us down on Sunday? Or even holidays? Oh, I can just picture it. Christmas weekend comes. Everybody's off having fun. But our principal decrees that we must spend every day of our vacation in school.
Old Marblehead wouldn't dare.
Don't you worry, Miss Brooks. Even though we all recognize this for the tyranny that it is a short-lived tyranny. Our spokesman elected unanimously at last night's meeting will see to that.
Spokesman? Whom did you elect?
Let me be the first to congratulate you. What more logical choice, may I add, to slay the tyrant?
Now, wait a second, Walter. It just happens that I didn't renew my card in the Tyrant Slayers Union. I'm in enough hot water now for canceling school yesterday.
Well, that was different. It was an emergency. Plus which nobody was there anyway. But don't worry about it now. We can plan our campaign on the way down to school.
I thought you said you weren't going.
Of course I'm going. I'm in charge of the picket line. As one of the organizers of this rebellion, it's up to me to see that the protest meeting this morning goes off without a flaw.
Are you sure you've got the eyebrows for this kind of work?
Oh, we've got a great program lined up, Miss Brooks. Some of the kids are bringing a dummy down so we can hang Mr. Conklin in effigy.
But, Walter, that's a pretty violent way of protesting.
Oh, it'll all be in fun. Sort of. Well, even Mr. Conklin's daughter Harriet's on our side. So, here's the plan, Miss Brooks. First, we're going to have one last talk with Mr. Conklin. Then we're going to go out and hang the dummy. Well, what do you think of the scheme?
It's a dandy, Walter. Of course, it would be more effective if you had one last talk with the dummy and then went out... Oh, there I go with that wishful thinking.
Miss Brooks.
For a group who decided not to come to school today, there's quite a crowd on the campus.
I wonder where Stretch Snodgrass is. He's supposed to carry the dummy over to the flagpole.
As Madison's star athlete, he deserves the honor, but let me offer a word of caution, Walter.
What's that, Miss Brooks?
Well, I don't want to cast any aspersions on Stretch's mentality, but if he's carrying the dummy, be very careful who you string up.
Here he is now. Hiya, Stretch.
Oh, hi, Walter. Hello, Miss Brooks.
Hello, Stretch.
I made up a slogan for one of the picket signs, Walter, but I'm afraid it might be a teeny-weeny bit disrespectful. Want to hear it?
Sure. How does it go?
It goes, Mr. Conklin is very unfair. I'm going to wash that guy right out of my hair.
I don't think a slogan like that's too disrespectful. Do you, Miss Brooks?
Not if you want to finish your education in another part of the state.
Well, the real fun will come later, Miss Brooks. We're going to hang Mr. Conklin in a figgy.
In a what?
In a figgy.
Will he fit in a figgy?
No, he means in effigy, Miss Brooks.
Oh, I kind of liked it the other way.
Yeah, I better get the thing now. I'll see you later, Miss Brooks. Bye, Walter.
So long, pal. Well, everything's rolling right along. Let's see if Mr. Conklin got here yet.
Hello, Miss Brooks. Walter? Well, I just talked to Daddy, and he's livid. He blames you for the entire insurrection, Miss Brooks.
Me?
I tried to reason with him. I even told him that you weren't present when we named you our spokesman, although it was a foregone conclusion that you'd accept the honor with great enthusiasm.
That's getting me off the hook.
Daddy says if you hadn't canceled school yesterday, this wouldn't have happened. You're in an awful spot.
Gosh, I didn't mean to get you into such a jam, Miss Brooks.
Well, I'm in it, and it's up to me to get out of it. Please don't think I'm a Benedict Arnold, but I'd better get up on the school steps and have a little talk with some of these strikers.
Well, it probably won't do any good, but I can't blame you for trying.
Students, boys and girls, I'd like to talk to you for just a moment. Quiet, please. Thank you. Now, I'm sure you all have as much pride in your school as any members of the faculty have, or as its principal, Mr. Conklin, has. Please, I'm just trying to tell you that by working for a few hours today, we can be prepared to launch our new semester on Monday with a minimum of confusion, thus assuring us of a better start toward that degree of scholastic excellence which has always prevailed at Madison High. Remember, students, education is your sacred heritage, your guaranteed right under the Constitution, as well as the Bill of Rights, which ensures us all of the benefits and privileges which every American has come to feel.
And so, Miss Brooks, I hold you personally responsible for the fact that these malcontents are not in their classrooms yet.
But, Mr. Conklin, I really tried to...
Excuse me. This is Osgood Conklin's office.
Mr. Conklin himself speaking.
Hello, Conklin. This is Mr. Stone at the Board of Education.
Oh, hello, Mr. Stone. How's every little
I've no
thing?
time for chit-chat. A rather disturbing rumor has reached me to the effect that you've summoned your student body to school today.
My student body?
You realize, of course, that such an action on your part without sanction from the board would constitute a breach of authority that could lead to your immediate dismissal?
Yes, sir, yes, of course. Now, I can't for the life of me imagine where these ridiculous rumors begin. Why, I'm here all alone. Not another soul in the office. Bless you.
Shut up!
I'm sorry, sir. My cat has a cold. But about that rumor, the only reason I'm in the office is to get out some letters.
Good. I thought you had better sense than to do anything that autocratic. Oh, by the way, Osgood, I'll be in your neighborhood in a little while. Perhaps I'll drop in to discuss some board matters with you.
Fine, Mr. Stone. That'll be just grand. I'll look forward to seeing you.
Very well. Goodbye, Osgood.
Goodbye, Mr. Stone. Well, Miss Brooks, sometimes everything happens for the best. Because of you, no child has set foot in this building as yet. Is that right?
I guess not, Mr. Conklin, but if you'll just wait until
I'll be frank with you, Miss Brooks. If they had come in, it could have meant my dismissal. I don't understand Mr. Stone's attitude, but, well, go out to your youthful charges and inform them that there is no school today.
Oh, fine, Mr. Conklin.
You did it, Miss Brooks. I didn't think you could do it, but you did it.
What are you talking about, Denton?
Oh, she was wonderful, Mr. Conklin. Miss Brooks made a speech a few minutes ago that'll go down in Madison's history. Yes, sir. Every student is in his or her classroom right now. And believe me, Mr. Conklin, wild horses couldn't drag them out of this school today.
Well, Miss Brooks? You heard the boy. Thanks to your speech, wild horses couldn't drag them out of school today. And now, young woman, may I ask what you propose to do?
Step aside, Mr. Conklin.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, will continue in just a moment. But first, here is Vern Smith.
No other dentifrice offers proof of such results.
Proof that Colgate Dental Cream helps stop tooth decay before it starts.
2 years research at leading universities using Colgate Dental Cream, hundreds of case histories, makes this the most conclusive proof in all dentifrice history on tooth decay. Conclusive proof that when teeth are brushed with Colgates right after eating,
Colgate Dental Cream helps stop tooth decay before it starts.
yes, the toothpaste you use to clean your breath while you clean your teeth now offers a safe, proved way to reduce tooth decay. Modern science shows decay is caused by mouth acids, which are at their worst right after eating. Brushing teeth with Colgates as directed helps remove acids before they harm enamel.
Colgate Dental Cream has been proved to contain all the necessary ingredients, including an exclusive patented ingredient for effective daily dental care.
Get Colgate Dental Cream today. Big economy size, only 59 cents. Always use Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and
Help stop tooth decay before it starts.
remember, no other dentifrice offers proof of such results.
Well, I told Walter Denton to corral the students and herd them into the cafeteria. While I was waiting for them to assemble, I corralled Mr. Boynton and herded him into a corner table. Over a cup of coffee, I told him of Mr. Conklin's dilemma. As usual, Mr. Boynton was extremely sympathetic. So you see, if these kids don't go home at once, Mr. Conklin can get in big trouble with the board.
Well, that's his worry. Oh, he should have known better than to ask students to come to school on Saturday, let alone the faculty.
I wish he would, let alone the faculty. But we're in it now. At least I am. Up to our necks. At least my neck. Fine English teacher.
Well, I don't like to see you distressed about it. Now, look, when we do leave here, how about going someplace, just the two of us?
What sort of place did you have in mind, Mr. Boynton?
Well, I don't know.
It's a date.
I thought maybe you'd enjoy the zoo again today. Now, I understand they've got a yak over there that's over 60 years old.
Honestly?
Yeah. That's pretty old for a yak, you know.
Oh, I know. Then old yaks are so much more fun than young yaks, don't you think? Or don't you care? I know I don't.
Well, I got most of the kids in, Miss Brooks. Oh, hi, Mr. Boynton.
Oh, hello, Walter.
I'll hold this chair for you, Miss Brooks. Go ahead. Get up on it and make your speech.
Thanks, Walter. Students, attention, please. I've called you here for some very good news. You don't have to stay in school today.
Oh, but Miss Brooks, after your speech of this morning, we want to stay.
Don't you believe it? This, after all, is Saturday, a holiday. One to which you are not only entitled by law, but which is guaranteed to you by the Constitution, by the Bill of Rights and every other document so carefully prepared to safeguard the interest of you, the future leaders of our great nation.
Hello?
Hello, Osgood. This is Mr. Stone. I'm afraid I won't be able to drop in on you today after all. My wife's been driving my car all week, and it's pretty well shot.
Yes. Yes, I've seen her. Your car, that is. Your car. I'm sorry you can't drop in, though, Mr. Stone, but when you do pay us a visit, you'll find as smooth a running educational operation as there is in this country.
I'm sure of it, Osgood. Well, goodbye for now.
Goodbye, sir, and thanks for calling. Come in.
It's me, Mr. Conklin. I've told the students that they can go home any time they want to.
What? Have they left yet?
No, sir. Most of them are still in the cafeteria, but
They're going to pay for this morning's protest meeting. Mr. Stone isn't coming down after all. So you can just tell those recalcitrant mischief makers that they're staying here today until 4 p.m.
But, Mr. Conklin, I can't make another speech.
It's an order, Miss Brooks. Dismiss.
And so by working for a few hours today, we can be assured of a better start toward that degree of scholastic excellence which has always prevailed at Madison High. Remember, students, education is your sacred heritage, your guaranteed right under the Constitution, as well as the Bill of Rights, which ensures us all the benefits and privileges which every American...
Gosh, Stretch, I don't like to cross Miss Brooks up, but we just got to get out of school today.
But we're all on detention, Walter. We got to stay till 4 p.m. What makes me mad, we didn't even get to burn Mr. Conklin in a figgy.
Yeah, I know it's Stretch, and... Hey, wait a minute. You just gave me an idea. Suppose we had a fire drill. Then when we all ran out of school, we could just forget to stop running until we got home.
Yeah, but the control for the fire alarm bell is in Mr. Conklin's office, and he ain't going to ring it for no reason.
Then let's give him a reason.
You mean start a fire?
No, not a real fire, Stretch. A fake one. We can get some dry ice in the cafeteria kitchen and drop it in a bucket of water. Oh, that makes the most beautiful smoke you ever saw. And then we just fan it under old Marblehead's door until it fills his office.
Then he comes out of his door and hits us with the bucket.
No, he doesn't. We remove the screws from his doorknob from the outside. And then when he tries to open the door, the knob comes away in his hand, and Conklin falls right on his conch.
Boy, you should get a scholarship.
So, Miss Brooks, you've informed the student body that they're all under detention until 4?
Yes, sir, I did. But suppose Mr. Stone does come over and discovers that you're keeping us all in school on a holiday.
Ah, but he won't, Miss Brooks. He has no way to get here. His car broke down.
Suppose he decided to walk over.
Walk over? That's ridiculous.
Well, hello, Mr. Conklin.
Mr. Stone.
I decided to walk over.
That's ridiculous. Hello, Mr. Stone. How are you?
Fine, thanks, Miss Brooks. I would have been here sooner, Osgood, but I dozed off for a few minutes in the park. I stopped to rest on my favorite bench, the one under Paul Revere's statue.
That is an extremely comfortable bench.
Such nice, soft slats.
Tell me, Miss Brooks, what brought you to Old Madison today?
Old Mr. Conklin. That is, Mr. Conklin asked me to type some letters for him.
Yes, that's it. She's typing some letters for me.
But
I don't see any typewriter in here.
Well, it's in the next room.
In the next room?
I have very long arms. But now that we've finished, Mr. Conklin, why don't you drive Mr. Stone home instead of remaining in this stuffy old, empty old school?
A splendid idea. Come along, Mr. Stone.
Not so fast, Osgood. There are several things that... what's that? There must be someone loitering in the hall.
Impossible. There's no one in school today.
But I'd swear I just saw that doorknob turning.
Turning into what?
And what's that swirling in under the door?
Oh, that's nothing but smoke.
Yes, that's all it is. Just smoke.
Oh, of course. That's all it is. Smoke.
Smoke! Good heavens, the school's on fire.
Let's get out of here. Follow me.
Oh! The doorknob came away in his hand.
Oh, let me help you up, Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone? He fell on the back of his head, Mr. Conklin. He's unconscious.
Quick, Miss Brooks. Crawl through the window and run around and open the door from the outside. I'll try to revive Mr. Stone.
Yes, sir.
Smoke's getting pretty thick in here. I can hardly see you, Miss Brooks.
I can't see you at all, Mr. Conklin. I never could.
Gosh, Walter, we've been fanning smoke under that door for 5 minutes now, and he ain't rung the fire alarm yet.
Relax, Stretch. With the fog he's in, it'll take him a little while to notice the smoke.
You don't think Mr. Conklin has become asphyxiated, do you?
No, that would be too much to hope for.
But if he is asphyxiated, maybe we ought to open the door and haul him out of there.
Please, let's not spoil a perfectly good asphyxiation.
Miss Brooks!
We're cooked.
Oh, it's not a real fire, Miss Brooks. It's just dry ice and water, see? We were trying to get Mr. Conklin to ring the fire alarm so we could escape from school in the confusion. Oh, there's a lot you can do on Saturday on the outside.
Gosh, Miss Brooks, now that you caught us, what are you going to do?
Hand me that newspaper. I'll fan the smoke for a while.
Gee, you're a swell sport, Miss Brooks. You think you'll ring the alarm pretty soon?
Maybe he needs a little encouragement. Keep up your courage, Mr. Conklin. I'm fighting my way through the flames.
That'll get a rise out of old Marblehead.
Go ahead, Miss Brooks. Scare him some more.
I'm trying to reach you, Mr. Conklin, but the heat is terrific.
Perhaps I could get you a nice, cool lemonade, Miss Brooks.
Oh, not right now, thanks. I've got to keep fanning this dry ice and...
Now, Miss Brooks, if you're quite finished fighting your way through the flames...
You got here in the nick of time, Mr. Conklin. I just put the fire out.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I better be getting back to my classroom now.
Yeah, me too.
Stand where you are, you culprits!
Why, Mr. Conklin, you should thank these boys for what they've done.
Thank them?
Certainly. When Walter and Stretch realized the trouble you'd get into with Mr. Stone, they took this means of detaining him until the students were cleared out.
Sure. As long as Mr. Stone is locked in there, you're safe.
Hand me that newspaper. I'll fan the smoke for a while.
Here you are, Mr. Conklin.
Pour some more water on that dry ice, Snodgrass. You, Denton, see that all the classrooms are emptied and report back to me.
Yes, sir. I'll clear them out nothing flat.
Mr. Stone will have to get up pretty early in the morning to outsmart old Marblehead. Osgood Conklin.
I don't think you're getting enough smoke under the door, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, well, this newspaper's too flexible. Get me something firmer to fan the smoke with.
Perhaps you'd like to use my hat, Mr. Conklin?
Thank you, Mr. Stone, thank you. That should work much better than this... Thank you, Mr. Stone!
Mr. Conklin, I will discuss this matter with you privately in your office.
But, Mr. Stone...
Follow me, sir.
Oh!
Mr. Stone!
The doorknob came away in his hand again. Mr. Stone, say something. He's unconscious. Miss Brooks, what do I do now?
In an emergency like this, there's only one thing to do. Run, do not walk to the nearest employment agency.
Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks returns in just a moment, but first...
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl.
Tonight, yes, tonight, show him how much lovelier your hair can look after a Luster Cream shampoo. Luster Cream, world's finest shampoo. No other shampoo in the world gives Kay Dumet's magic blend of secret ingredients plus gentle lanolin. Not a soap, not a liquid. Luster Cream Shampoo leaves hair 3 ways lovelier. Fragrantly clean, free of loose dandruff, glistening with sheen. Soft, manageable. Even in hardest water, Luster Cream lathers instantly. No special rinse needed after a Luster Cream Shampoo. So gentle, Luster Cream is wonderful even for children's hair. Tonight, yes, tonight, try Luster Cream Shampoo.
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl, you owe your crowning glory to a luster cream shampoo.
And now, once again, here is our Miss Brooks.
Well, after Mr. Stone knocked himself out for the second time, I did some pretty fast thinking and came up with a desperation tactic. Recalling his remark that he had dozed on a park bench, I enlisted the aid of Mr. Boynton, and we hauled the head of the board over to the statue of Paul Revere.
Oh, he's still out cold, Miss Brooks. I'll try the smelling salts again. There.
Put them away, Mr. Boynton. He's coming, too. Wake up, Mr. Stone. Wake up.
Huh? What's that? Oh, Miss Brooks. About that fire. If you'll step into Mr. Conklin's office... Mr. Conklin's office? Where is it? Good heavens, the school is burned down.
School? What school?
Now, listen, Miss Brooks, when I first saw you today...
Today? Why, I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, Mr. Stone. Since there was no school today, Mr. Boynton and I decided to stroll through the park.
Yes, sir, and when we saw you dozing, we thought we'd better awaken you before you rolled off that bench.
Bench? What? Oh, I do remember stopping to rest, but oh, what a nightmare I've just had.
Maybe you'd better go home and get some real rest, Mr. Stone.
Excellent suggestion. I'll go right home and... Wait a minute.
What's the matter?
How did I get this doorknob in my hand?
Doorknob?
Oh, that. That must have fallen from Paul Revere's statue.
From Paul Revere's statue?
Of course. With the British coming, he was in an awful rush.
Next week, tune into another Our Miss Brooks show brought to you by Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous, caressable hair and Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, is produced by Larry Burns, directed by Al Lewis, with music by Wilbur Hatch. Mr. Boynton is played by Jeff Chandler, Mr. Conklin by Gail Gordon. Others in tonight's cast were Jane Morgan, Dick Crenna, Gloria McMillan, Bill Johnstone, and Leonard Smith.
Doctors prove Palmolive soap can bring you a lovelier complexion in 14 days. Yes, 36 leading skin specialists proved in tests on 1,285 different women that Palmolive soap facials using nothing but Palmolive brought new complexion beauty to 2 women out of 3. Just wash your face 3 times daily with Palmolive soap. Each time for 60 seconds, massaging Palmolive's beauty lather onto your skin. Then rinse. So start your Palmolive facials today. Remember, doctors prove Palmolive soap can bring you a lovelier complexion in 14 days.
Today, more than ever before, America's security depends upon us as individuals. And if we really care what happens to us, our children, our country, we must at any cost defy vicious racial and religious biases from those around us. For unless we do, we will be a people divided, our claims of freedom and democracy only empty gestures. Let's work together as a team to keep the freedom we all enjoy.
For mystery liberally sprinkled with laughs, listen to Mr. and Mrs. North, the exciting, fun-packed adventures of an amateur detective and his beautiful wife. Tune in Tuesday evening over most of these same stations. And be with us again next week at this same time for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks. Bob Lamont speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay, and Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous, caressable hair brings you Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden. It's time once again for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks, written by Al Lewis.
For many teachers throughout the country, the past week marked the beginning of a new semester. And for our Miss Brooks, who teaches English at Madison High School, it was quite a busy time.
Thanks to our beloved principal, Osgood Conklin, it was even busier for me than for the rest of the faculty. For in addition to my school duties, he had me typing reports at home in the evenings. All week long, I didn't have a moment to myself. And worse than that, I didn't have a moment to Mr. Boynton. Friday morning at breakfast, I couldn't help bending my landlady's sympathetic ear. So you see, Mrs. Davis, not only have I spent the past 4 nights working for nothing, but I haven't been able to spend any time with Mr. Boynton.
That's a shame, Connie. But why did you take on all that extra work? You told me yourself you volunteered to do it for Mr. Conklin.
Of course I volunteered. I'm too young to face a firing squad. But it's not the work I mind. There's something else that bothers me.
Now, look, Connie, I know that Mr. Boynton is tall, dark, handsome, charming.
That's what bothers me. It's where he's been while I've been busy.
Mr. Boynton? Why, he's probably been at home every night, twiddling his thumbs.
You're wrong, Mrs. Davis. He's been at Miss Enright's 3 nights in a row. And for all I know, he's been twiddling her thumbs.
I don't think you have to worry about Miss Enright, Connie. She may be a capable English teacher, but when it comes to looks, she's no competition.
I don't know about that. She's quite an attractive person these days. These foggy days, that is. Well, I appreciate this pep talk, Mrs. Davis, but I'd better get ready to leave. Walter Denton said he'd pick me up early.
Good, Connie. That'll give you a chance to plan your counterattack. If you really believe that the enemy has secured a foothold in your territory, you've got to get busy and storm the heights.
You're so right. Boynton Heights, here I come. I'm glad you were prompt this morning, Walter. There's something I want to attend to before my first class.
I know, and I hope he's in his biology lab when you get there. Look, I don't mean to pry into your personal life.
Good, let's keep it that way.
But I couldn't help noticing how little you and Mr. Boynton have seen of each other during the past week.
Now, listen,
Walter. I know it's because of all the extra work you've had to do. Well, even Harriet Conklin, our principal's own daughter, told me she thought he's been driving you like a horse.
Oh, I don't know. I always whinny while I work.
And you've noticed something else, too. Miss Enright hasn't let any grass grow under her feet.
Please, Walter, Miss Enright's gardening problems don't interest me.
You know what I mean, Miss Brooks. She's had dates with Mr. Boynton one night after another.
Walter, I know you're fond of me and mean to be helpful. But if this intensely personal conversation doesn't stop, I'll get out and walk to school.
Gosh, Miss Brooks, I didn't mean to intrude on your privacy, but it just happens that I have a wonderful plan to get Mr. Boynton out of Miss Enright's clutches once and for all. You want to hear it, Miss Brooks?
How can I help it? I'm not going to get out and walk to school.
Now you're talking. Oh, the scheme is very simple. We just fight fire with fire. For the past 3 nights, Mr. Boynton has had dinner at Miss Enright's place. Everybody knows that.
What does she live in, a television studio?
Please, Miss Brooks, you'll stop the flow.
Sorry.
Obviously, Mr. Boynton keeps coming back there because he gets some good food, and the price is right. Hence, the old saying is proved again, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Well, that may be one of the better routes, Walter, but how do we interrupt Miss Enright's regularly scheduled trips?
That's where the fighting fire with fire comes in.
Please, Walter, burning down a fellow teacher is arson.
No, you don't burn her down. You simply tap the same source that she uses for tempting recipes. Then you invite Mr. Boynton to your lair, your place.
Well, what is her source of recipes?
Miss Dugan's domestic science class. The girl's learning to cook at the best recipes you've ever seen.
And Miss Enright borrows them?
Sure. After school, she takes them right off the bulletin board in Miss Dugan's room. And they print new ones every day. And Harriet tells me they're so simply written that a sub-moron could follow the instructions.
Thanks, Walter.
I didn't mean it that way, Miss Brooks. But I know you haven't had much experience cooking, and
You're right, Walter. Mrs. Davis does all our cooking.
Well, Harriet's going to meet us at school this morning and take you into the domestic science class for a little brush-up. And then you invite Mr. Boynton to dinner tonight and let nature take its course. Well, here we are. You get out, Miss Brooks, and I'll find a place to park.
All right, Walter. Oh, I keep forgetting. You've got tin slats where the doors should be. Give me a hand, will you?
Oh, sure, Miss Brooks. There you go. Well, the corrugated tin looks nice instead of doors, doesn't it? I got the idea from the new Hudson.
The new Hudson?
Yeah. This is the car you step down out of. Oh, there's Harriet.
Hi, Miss Brooks. Walter.
Hiya, Harriet. Take our charge in tow. I'll just be a couple of minutes.
Okay, Walter. See you later. Come on, Miss Brooks. Let's go in.
All right, Harriet. You seem to be the doctor.
You just leave this thing to us, Miss Brooks. We'll have that certain party eating out of your hand in no time.
If I break any more dishes at home, he'll have to.
Now, here's our plan, Miss Brooks. Mr. Boynton's favorite dish is Boston stew.
Boston stew? How do you know?
Miss Enright pumped him for it yesterday.
Seems like a lot of trouble to go to.
Now, at Miss Enright's suggestion, Miss Dugan is going to get the best possible recipe for Boston stew and put it on the bulletin board sometime today.
Then Miss Enright will stop by and... Excuse me, Harriet. I think I'll drop into the domestic science room for a minute.
I knew you'd catch on. I've got to stop by Daddy's office, but I'll join you in a little while. We've still got some time to brush you up on some fundamentals.
All right, Harriet.
Well, if it isn't Miss Brooks.
Miss Enright.
What brings you to the domestic science room, darling?
Oh, I've always been domestic. Only nowadays you've got to make a science out of it.
Well, if I've said it once, I've said it a dozen times. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
By now, that should seem like the old Ox Road to you.
I suppose you're referring to my constant dinner companion of the past week.
Yes, I am. While I was home alone working overtime, you were home with Mr. Boynton working overtime. And I don't think it's fair, Miss Enright.
All's fair in love and war, darling.
You're just loaded with goodies today, aren't you?
After all, if Mr. Boynton likes good food prepared with loving care, who's to prevent him from getting it?
If I may borrow one of your best used cliches, two can play at that game. I'm going to prepare a dinner for Mr. Boynton that he'll never forget.
You? Oh, darling, you're not the type. Think of the time and money you spend in a beauty parlor to make yourself fairly presentable. A steaming kitchen would play havoc with your fragile charms.
You don't say. Well, for your information, Miss Enright, food can be cooked just as well on a pretty modern range as it can on an old pot-bellied stove.
Are you inferring
if the girdle fits, wear it.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, will continue in just a moment. But first, here is Vern Smith. No other dentifrice offers proof of such results. Proof that Colgate Dental Cream helps stop tooth decay before it starts. 2 years' research at leading universities using Colgate Dental Cream, hundreds of case histories, makes this the most conclusive proof in all dentifrice history on tooth decay. Conclusive proof that when teeth are brushed with Colgates right after eating, Colgate Dental Cream helps stop tooth decay before it starts. Yes, the toothpaste you use to clean your breath while you clean your teeth now offers a safe, proved way to reduce tooth decay. Modern science shows decay is caused by mouth acids, which are at their worst right after eating. Brushing teeth with Colgates as directed helps remove acids before they harm enamel. Colgate Dental Cream has been proved to contain all the necessary ingredients, including an exclusive patented ingredient for effective daily dental care. Get Colgate Dental Cream today. Big economy size, only 59 cents. Always use Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay before it starts. Remember, no other dentifrice offers proof of such results.
Well, when lunch period came, I hastened toward the school cafeteria to invite Mr. Boynton over for dinner. As I passed the principal's office, however, the door opened, and I heard Mr. Conklin murmur,
"Halt!" Step into my office a moment, Miss Brooks.
Aye, aye, sir.
Sit down, please.
Thank you.
Since this is your lunch hour, I'll be brief. I just want to tell you that I appreciate your getting out that typing during this past week.
Oh, you're welcome, Mr. Conklin. Well, see you later.
One moment, please. The spirit with which we tackled a difficult task was most admirable. In fact, as I watched your fingers flying over the keys, putting in carbon paper, second sheets, making erasures, oiling and cleaning the machine, then washing up and starting all over again, I realized that to me this wasn't work at all.
To you, it wasn't.
No, indeed. It was actually, fun. Now, there's another report I must have typed, about 30 pages.
30 pages?
Yes. One long evening will do it.
Oh, good for her. Those Chinese secretaries are really marvelous. Now, if you'll excuse me...
Miss Brooks. I'll be over at your home about 7 tonight.
Mr. Conklin, don't you think you've been a little partial to me lately?
Partial?
With these honorary jobs, I mean. You know how carefully we teachers try to avoid making pets out of any students, and, well, you've got to be doubly careful in your high office not to pet any teachers. I mean, show any partiality. Look, I'd like to make a suggestion.
Mine is an ever-open mind, Miss Brooks.
I know. Why don't you give some other teacher the opportunity of working with you tonight?
Who, for instance?
Well, it's not my place to mention names, but I'm sure Miss Enright would love the opportunity.
Miss Enright, eh? She is a competent sort of an individual. Even more competent than some I've used. Yes. I think I'll ask her about it right now.
Oh, don't ask her now, Mr. Conklin. Surprise her. Just drop over to her place tonight with the work under your arm.
But how can I be sure she'll be at home?
She'll be at home, all right. If you'll just get there at 7 o'clock sharp, Mr. Conklin, I can promise you'll find Miss Enright cooking, with and without gas. It's nice to be having lunch together again, isn't it, Mr. Boynton?
Oh, it's more than nice, Miss Brooks.
It is?
Certainly is. This goulash is terrific.
That's all right for cafeteria food, I guess, but there's nothing like a home-cooked meal. Don't you think so?
Oh, I sure do. I've been very fortunate that way during this past week. I've had a couple of home-cooked meals.
You've had 3, but who counts? What I'm so subtly suggesting, Mr. Boynton, is that you have dinner at my place tonight, for a change.
Your place?
Yes, I thought I'd prepare dinner for 2. Perhaps some special recipe you're fond of?
I wish you'd asked me sooner, Miss Brooks. I promised to have dinner with Miss Enright tonight.
Not again.
Yeah, not again.
Walter, how long have you been eavesdropping behind that history book?
Oh, I haven't heard a thing, Miss Brooks. I was just thinking about what to go and get at the steam table.
Well, you're excused any time, Walter.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Boynton. But all I can say is anybody that'd eat dinner with Miss Enright instead of a certain other English teacher must have some of his marbles missing.
Walter!
I'll see you later, Miss Brooks.
I can't understand his attitude.
Oh, I guess he just doesn't like Miss Enright.
I can understand his attitude. Look, Mr. Boynton, I happen to know that Miss Enright will be extremely busy this evening. Mr. Conklin's bringing her a report to type.
Mr. Conklin, are you sure?
It was the least he could do. But don't worry about your dinner engagement, Mr. Boynton. All you have to do is transfer your appetite to my table.
Well, if Miss Enright is going to be busy, I guess I could accept your invitation. Got to eat somewhere.
You're too gracious. Is it a date?
Oh, it's a date. But, Miss Brooks, did I understand you to say you were going to cook the dinner?
Certainly.
That's strange. I never thought you knew anything about cooking.
Oh, you'd be surprised. I know some very strange things about cooking.
Hi, Walter. What brings you to the domestic science room?
You'll see, Harriet. I'm glad the others have all gone. Yeah, there. It's up.
What is it, Walter? What did you put on the class bulletin board?
It's a recipe for Boston stew. I printed it myself.
You printed it?
Sure. I got the idea when I heard Mr. Boynton say he was having dinner with Miss Enright tonight.
But, Walter, you don't know anything about Boston stew. What ingredients did you use in the recipe?
Believe me, Harriet, what I printed in this recipe would be banned in Boston.
Golly, it's not poisonous, is it?
Of course not. Just pleasantly sickening. Now, we better get out of here before old Enright comes in. Boy, this'll teach her to try and take up all Mr. Boynton's time just because Miss Brooks is busy working.
Miss Dugan! Oh, Miss Dugan! Oh, I guess everybody's gone home. Uh-oh. What's this on the bulletin board? Recipe for Boston stew. Now, that's what I call a coincidence. Come to Connie, baby. Mr. Boynton should be here soon, Mrs. Davis. How is the Boston stew coming along?
All right, Connie, but there's so many strange ingredients. I must have 15 things cooking in 4 different pots. How does it look to you?
Well, frankly, Mrs. Davis, it looks like the stuff they pulled the big moe out of. But it must be a good recipe, or it wouldn't have been tacked on the bulletin board. Now, then, did you saute the codfish balls in beef gravy and baste the frankfurters with molasses?
I did, Connie.
And did you stuff the olives with shredded wheat before frying them?
Yes. And now I'm just bringing the horseradish and turnip greens to a slow boil here.
Good. And now we come to the main part of the recipe. Wait a minute, I'll read it for you. Under a low flame, gently stir codfish balls in shallow pan while adding 1 cup popcorn. Add bay leaves and wintergreen lifesavers. Then fold in 3 cups peanut brittle. Garnish with diced carrots and allow to simmer in 1 bottle of warm Coca-Cola.
Well, every man to his own taste, I suppose.
Oh, it was very nice of you to help me with this cooking, Mrs. Davis. But remember now, it's our secret.
Of course, dear. As far as Mr. Boynton is concerned, your loving hands alone prepared this masterpiece. Now, I'll just take my coat and be running along, Connie. I'm having dinner at my brother Victor's house.
You told me that before, Mrs. Davis. What time are you due at Victor's?
6 o'clock. What time is it now, Connie?
6:30.
Then I better hurry. I wouldn't want to be late. It's Victor's birthday today, you know.
You told me that before, too.
Really? I am getting absent-minded. Now, where did I put his present? Oh, here it is on the cupboard shelf. 6 nice golf balls. See?
Yes, they're very pretty. Wait a minute, Mrs. Davis. There are only 5 golf balls here.
Oh, that's all right. Victor never plays golf anyway. Well, I'll be going now, dear. Just let the Boston stew simmer for another few minutes and then turn off the gas.
I may not have to turn off the gas. This stuff looks strong enough to blow it out.
Oh, that must be Mr. Boynton now. I'll just slip out this back door and be on my way. Lots of luck with the dinner, dear.
Thanks again, Mrs. Davis. Wish your brother a happy birthday for me.
I will. Good night.
Good evening, Miss Brooks.
Welcome, Mr. Boynton. Let me put your umbrella in the closet.
This is Miss Enright.
Sorry. They both have the same type frame. Come in, I suppose.
Thank you, darling.
Give me your coat, Mr. Boynton. I'll hang it up for you.
Oh, thank you.
Here's my coat, dear.
Just throw it over that chair.
Your hospitality is overwhelming.
You see, Miss Brooks, I took the liberty of bringing Miss Enright along for dinner because we did have a prior date, and she didn't have anything else to do.
But what about...
Mr. Conklin? Well, fortunately, he phoned me about that typing assignment you arranged for me. But I told him that as much as I'd love to help him, I couldn't because of my sore finger.
What sore finger?
The one that got better as soon as I phoned Mr. Boynton. But now that we're here, I don't see why we can't have a fairly jolly dinner party.
Oh, I'll bet you've got a swell dinner ready. What's that I smell? Is it coming from the kitchen?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was running from the kitchen. I guess I'll have to set another place at the table
Don't
now.
you lift a finger, darling. I'll set my own place and pitch right in like a good little sport. We girls have to stick together, you know.
I'm stuck with you, all right.
Well, I'm going into the kitchen, if I may, and help carry things out when they're ready.
All right, Mr. Boynton. Oh, I'll answer the door. You just go on back to the kitchen.
Oh, don't worry about me, Miss Brooks. I'm pretty handy around the house.
Yeah, the wrong house. Walter.
Hiya, Miss Brooks. I knew you were going to be all alone tonight, so I got permission from my folks to eat with you. Can I come in?
Why not? Although about my being alone...
Oh, I've got a story to tell you that'll really cheer you up.
I can use it. Come into the dining room, Walter. We're about ready to start.
Oh, swell. Of course, I've got a date with Harriet tonight, so I'll have to go right after dinner. But I want you to hear the rib I pulled this afternoon.
Well, if it isn't one of my favorite pupils, how are you, Walter?
Miss Enright, but I...
Well, didn't you expect me either? We're all being surprised tonight, aren't we?
Well, I put everything in this big platter, Miss Brooks. Oh, hello, Walter.
Oh, hello, Mr. Boynton. What are you doing here?
I was invited.
So was Walter. We're all invited. Now, let's sit down and get this over with. Start eating, shall we?
Fine. I'll be the Papa Bear and do the serving. Well, here's yours, Miss Enright.
Thank you, I think.
Here's your dish, Miss Brooks.
Thank you.
Now you, Walter.
Oh, boy, I'm starved.
Well, go on and eat, my boy. This is food that's fit for a king.
Yeah, I'll try one of these round things first. This is kind of slippery.
Look out, Walter. It's rolling off your plate.
Where'd it go?
I caught it on the fourth bounce. Here you are.
Say, this is a pretty strange kind of food. It says Spalding Crow Flight on it.
Spalding Crow Flight?
Don't give it another thought. Victor never plays golf anyway.
Just what kind of a dish is this, Miss Brooks?
Oh, can't you tell? This is Boston stew.
Well, sure, anybody knows that. You can tell at a glance that this is good old Boston stew.
So that's why the recipe wasn't on the bulletin board in the domestic science room. You took it, Miss Brooks.
Why not? First come, first served, I always say. Now, let's dig in, shall we?
But, Miss Brooks...
You better start eating, Walter. Remember what you told me. You've got to go right after dinner.
I know, but this isn't the way I want to go. Please, look, Miss Brooks, I got to talk to you privately for a minute. Come on into the kitchen. Hey, excuse us, folks.
Just continue eating, won't you? I'll be back as soon as I see what's wrong with Walter. What is it, Walter? What's the trouble?
That recipe for Boston stew. That didn't come from the domestic science teacher. I printed that myself.
You?
Sure. That was the rib I started to tell you about. I thought Mr. Boynton was going to have dinner with Miss Enright, so I wanted to fix her wagon. I just put down everything I could think of in that recipe.
Oh, this is terrible. I've got to stop them.
Yeah, you better. I'm going to take a powder out the back way. If Miss Enright finds out about this, she'll kill me.
And if she doesn't, it's my turn tomorrow. Listen, folks, don't touch the... Where's Miss Enright?
The strangest thing happened, Miss Brooks. She took one spoonful of the stew and got the most peculiar look on her face. And then she excused herself and ran out the front door. I don't know what got into her.
I do. Mr. Boynton, please...
She never acted that rudely before. I can't understand
Well, never
it.
mind that now. I hope you didn't taste that stew.
Taste it? Well, I've eaten 2 plates of it. Oh, it's delicious, Miss Brooks. Well, I feel warm all over. Just goes to prove the old saying, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Mr. Boynton, with 2 plates of that stew in there, the super chief couldn't get through.
Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks returns in just a moment, but first...
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl.
Tonight? Yes, tonight. Show him how much lovelier your hair can look after a Luster Cream shampoo. Luster Cream, world's finest shampoo. No other shampoo in the world gives Kay Daumit's magic blend of secret ingredients plus gentle lanolin. Not a soap, not a liquid. Luster Cream Shampoo leaves hair 3 ways lovelier. Fragrantly clean, free of loose dandruff, glistening with sheen, soft, manageable. Even in hardest water, Luster Cream lathers instantly. No special rinse needed after a Luster Cream Shampoo. So gentle, Luster Cream is wonderful even for children's hair. Tonight, yes, tonight, try Luster Cream Shampoo.
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl, you owe your crowning glory to a luster cream shampoo.
And now, once again, here is our Miss Brooks.
Well, Mr. Boynton was so grateful for the Boston stew, he could hardly wait till the dishes were finished before inviting me to a movie. But as we headed for the closet to get our coats, the front door opened and a familiar voice murmured, "Halt!"
Mr. Conklin.
Oh, hello, Boynton. Well, Miss Brooks, since Miss Enright has a bruised finger tonight, I brought over this 30-page report, and I'm going to let you type it.
Thanks a million.
Gosh, Mr. Conklin, we were planning to see a movie.
Well, you'll have to go alone, Boynton. This is business.
I'm awfully sorry, Miss Brooks. I'll go get my coat out of the closet.
All right, Mr. Boynton. Mr. Conklin, can't this typing be postponed?
I'm afraid not. This is so important, I even skipped my dinner so that we could buckle right down to work. By the way, while we're working, I could use a little snack. Do you have anything around that I could eat?
Eat?
Yes.
I have just the thing for you, Mr. Conklin. Mr. Boynton.
Yes, Miss Brooks?
Stick around. I'll be with you in a minute.
Next week, tune into another Our Miss Brooks show brought to you by Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous, caressable hair and Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, is produced by Larry Burns, directed by Al Lewis, with music by Wilbur Hatch. Mr. Boynton is played by Jeff Chandler, Mr. Conklin by Gail Gordon. Others in tonight's cast were Jane Morgan, Dick Crenna, Gloria McMillan, and Mary Jane Croft.
For a beauty bath that brings you glamour from head to toe, get bath-size Palmolive soap.
Yes, ladies, for a velvet smooth beauty lather that caresses your skin, leaves your whole body glowing with the warm blush of fragrant loveliness, enjoy a beauty bath with bath-size Palmolive. It's perfect for your tub or shower. Just the gentlest massage over your body creates a glorious lather that leaves your skin delightful.
Yes, for the most luxurious bath you've ever had, get big bath-size Palmolive soap.
At this time, the Colgate-Palmolive Peat Company salutes the American Dental Association, sponsors of National Children's Dental Health Day, tomorrow, February 6th. Colgate Dental Cream is proud to have contributed vital research in the fight against tooth decay. The American Dental Association recommends these 3 important steps in helping eliminate tooth decay. 1, regular visits to your dentist. 2, proper diet. 3, brush teeth immediately after eating. Colgate-Palmolive Peat joins America's 75,000 dentists in urging that you begin now to instruct your children in this important dental care. Help guarantee healthier, sounder citizens for the future.
Be with us again next week at this same time for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay, and Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous, caressable hair bring you Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden. It's time once again for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks, written by Al Lewis. Well, last Tuesday was Valentine's Day. And our Miss Brooks, who teaches English at Madison High School, looked forward to celebrating the occasion with Madison's biology teacher, Mr. Philip Boynton.
Of course, Mr. Boynton isn't the most dashing person in the world, but what he lacks in ardent emotion, he more than makes up for by his passionate lack of interest in romance. In fact, I have long suspected that if Mr. Boynton is ever hit by one of Dan Cupid's arrows, he'll remove it with a scalpel, cauterize the wound, and kick Cupid right in his quiver. I was discussing my reluctant dreamboat with my landlady last Tuesday at breakfast.
I can't understand it, Connie. You're young, attractive, good company, charming.
Thanks, Mrs. Davis. What are you doing after school?
Now, I'm serious. Somebody ought to take Mr. Boynton by the shoulders and give him a good shaking.
I've tried that, but he's not a very good rumba dancer. Besides, I really shouldn't complain. We've been out on several dates in the past few weeks.
I know that, dear. But where does he take you on these dates?
To the zoo.
Exactly. And he took you there again yesterday, didn't he?
How do you know?
It's obvious.
If it's that obvious, I'd better spray a little sweet air around.
I knew you were at the zoo by the way you were dreaming last night. I got up to get some water, and as I passed your room, you were screaming like a wounded buffalo.
Why, that's absurd, Mrs. Davis. I don't know what I'd be screaming about. It was only a flesh wound.
Well, cheer up, dear. Here are some Valentine greetings that came for you this morning.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Davis. Let's see. This one's from Walter Denton. I recognize the handwriting. Well, an original poem.
Read it out loud, Connie.
All right. It says, my heart tick-ticks for you, my queen, with the steady watch beat of a new lawn jean. Dear Miss Brooks, I think you're keen. Won't you be my Valentine?
Valentine?
That's the feminine gender. Listen to this, Mrs. Davis. This is from Stretch Snodgrass.
Really? You mean he can write?
Just about. Here it is. When it comes to athletics, I get plenty of breaks. But when it comes to scholastics, I ain't no great shakes. But since being in your English class, I don't sing the blues, 'cause nobody nowhere never taught me better than yous. Now, that's what I call a flattering Valentine.
Why don't you open this next one, Connie? Even I can recognize the sender of that.
How?
Mr. Boynton put his return address on the envelope.
Naturally. When he invests in the stamp, he wants to be sure it gets somewhere. Well, listen to this. You're on my mind where'er I go, even when I'm alone at a picture show. But especially do I think of you when I happen to pass our local zoo.
There he goes again. How about you, Connie? Did you send Mr. Boynton a Valentine greeting?
Yes, I mailed it yesterday. I didn't sign it, of course, but I think he'll know where it came from.
What did you say in your greeting, Connie?
It was an original bit of verse, Mrs. Davis, called I Must Go Where the Wild Goose Goes. Let's see if I can remember it. Oh, yes. To my Valentine, Mr. Boynton. Though I must go where the wild goose goes, I also know what the wild goose knows. You'll think I'm jesting, I suppose, but no goose winds up in any zoo if he's really on his toes.
Why, Connie, that's beautiful. It's a wonderful idea for a song.
Oh, I don't know. It's not very commercial. But I've been thinking, Mrs. Davis, today being Valentine's Day, I'd like to get Mr. Boynton to take me to a restaurant for a change.
Where does he usually take you to dinner?
We split a hamburger in front of the lion's cage. And I strongly suspect it's the same kind of meat the lion gets. Of course, there's one thing I should be grateful for, I suppose.
What's that?
He doesn't serve it to me on the end of a stick.
I'm sure Mr. Boynton realizes that this is a holiday, Connie. He'll probably take you to a lovely restaurant.
No, he won't, Mrs. Davis. He was just telling me yesterday how pressed he is for money. Seems he spent $2 for a rare white mouse. He's experimenting with it at his home.
At his home? Good heavens, Connie, how can Mr. Boynton live in a place with a white mouse?
He's got twin beds. But to get back to my date tonight, if I had a little extra money, I'd pretend I owed it to Mr. Boynton for some ancient debt and force it on him. Then he'd have to take me to a nice place to eat.
That sounds like an excellent idea, Connie. Do you have any extra money?
$1 net. Now, if I had another dollar or two, I could... Mrs. Davis...
I pass, Connie. I barely have enough money to do today's shopping. I'd love to help you, dear, but...
Oh, forget it, Mrs. Davis. And I guess I'll have to forget it, too. Oh, that must be Walter Denton. He's driving me down to school this morning.
Again? What's wrong with your car?
Yes. Come in, Walter.
I'll fix some more toast and get some jelly out. That boy's one of the biggest eaters I've ever seen.
He does do pretty well by the groceries.
Valentine's Day greetings to the fairest of the fair, and I hope my little verses aren't getting in your hair.
Your rhymes are most enchanting, but upon them let's not brood. Pull a chair up to the table and start swilling up your food.
That's what I like about Valentine's Day, Miss Brooks. It puts everybody in such a good humor. But before I join you for breakfast, there's something I'd like to take care of.
What's that?
Here's the buck I owe you. You lent it to me way back in September for a ticket to the ball game. I'll bet you don't even remember it.
What do you want to bet?
Here, Miss Brooks, take it. And if you don't mind a rather personal suggestion, why don't you slip the $1 to Mr. Boynton?
Mr. Boynton?
Sure. So he'll take you to a restaurant for once instead of the zoo.
What?
Yeah, you could tell him you owe him the money for some ancient debt or something.
Walter, how can you even think of such a thing, too? That is, I know you mean well, but do you really think it'll work?
Sure it'll work.
Well, how about you? It won't leave you short, will it?
Oh, not a bit. I got the money from Stretch Snodgrass last night. He's owed it to me since August.
But Stretch doesn't make very much working in his father's pet shop. Maybe you shouldn't have taken it from him.
Oh, he doesn't work at the pet shop anymore. His father fired him after the beef.
Beef?
Yeah. You know what a temper Stretch has. Well, last Monday he bit an orangutan.
How hungry can you get?
Well, his father just means to punish him, I guess, but meanwhile, Stretch wound up with a job after school that pays 3 times as much.
Where's he working?
In turkey heaven.
How did he get in? I mean, what in the world is turkey heaven?
It's a restaurant, Miss Brooks. Of course, Stretch is only a busboy now, but who knows how far he can go if Mr. Turk takes a liking to him.
Mr. Turk?
The owner. Turk's Turkey Heaven, the place is called.
If you tell me Mr. Turk's first name is Tom, I'll hit you with a drumstick.
That's a swell spot, Miss Brooks. Maybe Mr. Boynton will take you there some night.
Not unless they sell turkey burgers and have a lion in the window. Honestly, I'm so fed up with the zoo, I'd almost rather stay home tonight. Wait a minute. If I add this $1 you gave me to the one I've got already, we could... Come on, Walter, we've got to get down to school for the election.
What election?
I've just elected Mr. Boynton, the man most likely to blow me to dinner with my own money.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, will continue in just a moment. But first, here is Vern Smith. No other dentifrice offers proof of such results. Proof that Colgate Dental Cream helps stop tooth decay before it starts. 2 years research at leading universities using Colgate Dental Cream. Hundreds of case histories makes this the most conclusive proof in all dentifrice history on tooth decay. Conclusive proof that when teeth are brushed with Colgates right after eating, Colgate Dental Cream helps stop tooth decay before it starts. Yes, the toothpaste you use to clean your breath while you clean your teeth now offers a safe, proved way to reduce tooth decay. Modern science shows decay is caused by mouth acids which are at their worst right after eating. Brushing teeth with Colgates as directed helps remove acids before they harm enamel. Colgate Dental Cream has been proved to contain all the necessary ingredients, including an exclusive patented ingredient for effective daily dental care. Get Colgate Dental Cream today. Big economy size, only 59 cents. Always use Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay before it starts. Remember, no other dentifrice offers proof of such results.
Well, we got to school before it was time for my first class, and I headed directly for the biology lab to confirm my Valentine date with Mr. Boynton. His enthusiastic reply to my reminder almost swept me off my feet.
I guess we could kill a couple of hours somewhere.
frankly, Miss Brooks, if you're expecting any elaborate celebrations...
Of course I'm not, Mr. Boynton. I just thought we could do something simple and inexpensive.
You mean like go to the...
No. Look, before we make any plans, let me give you these $2 I owe you.
$2?
Yes, it was for gas. I picked you up in my car one night last May, and when we ran out of gas, you bought 10 gallons for me.
I bought 10 gallons?
You had a beer with your dinner.
Let me think a minute. You say this happened one night last May? Say, was that the evening we were coming from the zoo?
We weren't coming from the casino in Monte Carlo. Here, Mr. Boynton, take the $2.
Oh, but I don't seem to remember this incident, Miss Brooks. Let me take a look at my little black book.
Black book?
Oh, yes, I enter all my expenditures in it during the fiscal year. That way I know just how to budget myself from month to month. Now, let's see. 1949, August, July, June. Here we are, May. May 1st, light bulb, 15 cents. Collar button, 5 cents. May 2nd, 25 razor blades, 9 cents. May 3rd, mercurochrome and bandages, 90 cents. May 4th, stamp for letter to mother, 3 cents. Month's supply of frog food for Pet McDougal, 12 cents.
That must have been the month Mac was on the diet.
It's funny, I can't seem to find any record of that gas bill.
Please, Mr. Boynton, it must have slipped your mind. Just take this.
Oh, let's look a little further, please. May 11th, ink, 10 cents. Stamp for letter to mother, 3 cents. May 14th, shoelaces, 5 cents. Stamp, 3 cents. May 16th, laundry, 75 cents. May 18th, stamp, 6 cents. Oh, that was Mother's Day. I wrote Mom airmail.
She must have been thrilled. 2 days later.
May 25th, pair of socks, 35 cents. Sports shirt, $3.
That must have been the day you had the beer.
I don't remember that item at all.
See, you just forgot to put the $2 down. Now, please take the money and let's
Well, thanks, Miss Brooks. It's certainly nice of you to remind me about it. You know, this $2 is going to make a big difference in our Valentine Day celebration.
You mean dinner for two, Mr. Boynton?
For two? Why, with this money, I can buy peanuts for every monkey in the zoo.
And so, class, if you'll just turn to page 18, we can all go to lunch.
Miss Brooks? Oh, Miss Brooks, can I talk to you for a minute?
What is it, Harriet?
Walter told me he paid you back some money he owed you, and I'd like to do the same thing. Here, Miss Brooks, here's the $1 you laid out for 2 of my lunches last month.
But, Harriet, I treated you to those.
Why should you treat me to lunch, Miss Brooks?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the market went up.
Please, Miss Brooks, I insist that you take this $1.
But, Harriet, this is probably your lunch money.
Oh, no, it isn't. Stretch Snodgrass owed me this money for months. He just paid me back this morning.
Good old Stretch. Since he's been working at Turkey Heaven, he's loaded like a Turk. Thanks, Harriet. This money's going to come in very handy. Now, if I could just think of somebody else who owed me some money. Wait a minute. Your father owes me $1 since last December. I'm going right over and collect it.
I'll walk you to his office, Miss Brooks. But if I were you, I'd be very careful how I approach Daddy. He wasn't in a very good mood this morning.
What was wrong?
Well, Mother played a little Valentine joke on him. She cut a big heart-shaped hole in his morning paper. And she said she'd like to see his face at the breakfast table at least one day a year.
That should be plenty. I mean, that was very clever of your mother, Harriet. I'm glad I didn't send him a Valentine.
Well, here we are, Miss Brooks. Good luck.
Thanks, Harriet. Now stand back. I'm going to open the cage. Pardon me, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, good afternoon, Miss Brooks. And thank you for the Valentine greeting.
Valentine greeting, but
I know you chose to remain anonymous, but certain subtleties of phrasing gave you away. The biggest hint, of course, was in the signature. From an admirer.
Oh, I'm not the only one at Madison who feels that way about you, Mr. Conklin, but I am glad you like the card.
Yes, it is a dandy. You probably know it by heart, but I'd like to read it aloud for you, if I may.
Certainly, sir. I'd love to hear it. Again.
It goes, As our principal, you've ruled us with a firm and steady hand. You've hustled and you've bustled, and our work you've carefully planned. Though you've guided us and chided us, I've really been in clover, because I know it won't take very long before you topple over.
Mr. Conklin, I have a confession to make. That is not the card I sent you.
It isn't? That's strange. It's the only one I got.
Oh, mine must have been held up in the mail. I'll send it to you. I mean, you'll get it tomorrow.
I'll be looking forward to it. Now, I've got to finish checking the business accounts at the school library, Miss Brooks, so if you'll state your business.
Yes, sir. You may not recall this, Mr. Conklin, but during the first week in December, I was taking care of the office while you were out, and a collect telegram came for you.
It did?
Yes, and I paid for it.
You did?
Remember, you told me to remind you about it around Christmas time?
And did you?
Yes, sir.
Then you've done your duty. Good day, Miss Brooks.
But, Mr. Conklin, the reason I'm bringing it up again is that you
Stop dunning me. How much is the miserable item?
Well, the wire was 97 cents, so I gave him $1.
You tipped the messenger boy?
It was only 3 cents.
You're very generous with my money.
Well, the messenger had no change either, and as I say, it was just 3 cents.
The amount is immaterial. It's the principle that's involved.
Oh, you're not so involved, Mr. Conklin. It's just...
Please, Miss Brooks. I've always felt that tipping is definitely un-American.
But the messenger boy didn't mind. He was a little old Frenchman. However, sooner than violate your code, just give me 97 cents and I'll write off the balance under the Marshall Plan.
I am not small, Miss Brooks. Here's your $1.
Oh, thank you, sir. Now, if you'll excuse me...
Just one moment, please. In going over these accounts from the library, I find that you're 6 weeks past due on a book.
A book? Oh, yes, that was the one I brought home for Mrs. Davis. She can't seem to remember just where she put it. She didn't even read any of it yet.
Obviously. The book was called How to Improve Your Memory. It's listed at $1.50, and I'll thank you for the money right now.
Oh, but Mr. Conklin, we're still looking for it, and
These accounts are all being closed out immediately, Miss Brooks. If you find the book, we'll be happy to make an adjustment.
But I can't afford the $1.50 at this time. I haven't got it to give you.
Tut, 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 Miss Brooks. I just handed you $1. And that, you must admit, was like found money.
Yes, indeed. Like money found at the bottom of a snake pit. Look, Mr. Conklin, couldn't this wait until...
Don't be petty, Miss Brooks. Here's 50 cents. Just hand me $2 and your account is all squared away.
All right. Here you are. Now may I go, Mr. Conklin?
Certainly. Good day, Miss Brooks.
It's a Lulu so far.
Hi, Miss Brooks.
Oh, hello, Stretch. Thanks for the Valentine.
Oh, that's okay. We're going to the cafeteria for lunch?
I might as well. I have 50 cents that's just burning a hole in my pocket. The one that doesn't have a hole in it already. But this talk of money is probably boring to anyone as affluent as you are.
Oh, I ain't affluent, Miss Brooks. I just got a cold in the head.
Well, it's nice to know there's something in there. By the way, how are things at Fort Knox?
Where?
Turkey heaven. Do you like your new job?
Oh, I like it real good. Of course, I'm just a busboy now, but if I work real hard, I don't always have to be a busboy. I can go places.
Especially if you get your own bus.
You don't understand, Miss Brooks. From a busboy, I could get to be a waiter, and then I could go from waiter to mater.
Mater?
D.
D?
Hotel.
We seem to have lost contact somewhere. Let's start again, shall we?
Mater is short for Mater D. Hotel.
Oh.
You know, the head waiter who runs the whole restaurant usually. Boy, to be one of them, you sure got to be elegant.
Yes, I know.
You only talk to the cream of society, the most cultured, well-bred, best-mannered people in the whole world, boy. And you know what happens when you're a Mater D?
What?
If they don't slip you a 5-spot, you don't give none of them crumbs a table.
Well, like I've always said, it takes a heap of culture to make a Mater D.
That's a long way off, I guess. But meanwhile, I'll just keep picking up glasses and learning the business. At least it's good exercise for me. I do a lot of bending over.
Bending over?
Sure. I drop a lot of glasses, too. But it's sure a nice restaurant, Miss Brooks. They got roast turkey, fried turkey, and cream turkey. My favorite is their special, turkey au grating. It's turkey hash varnished with cheese. And it's served in a shaving dish. Have you ever tried that?
No, I prefer boiled turkey shellacked in the casserole.
Oh, is that good?
Oh, take a glass of domestic turpentine with it, and you're out of this world.
Oh, before I forget, Miss Brooks, here's a credit slip for 2 free dinners at Turkey Heaven. The boss gave it to me for working extra hard over the weekend.
2 free dinners? But, Stretch, I can't take this. You've earned it by your labors. You're the one who should profit by your own efforts. You and nobody else. Well, that's enough acting for one day. Hand it over.
Here you are, Miss Brooks. It's no good to me anyway. After nibbling on turkey all day, who can eat?
Wait a minute, Stretch. I've got an idea. I want you to find Mr. Boynton and give him this credit slip.
Mr. Boynton?
That's right. But whatever you do, don't mention to him that I know anything about it. Now, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. I'm to find Mr. Boynton, then give him the slip, and mention that you don't know nothing about it.
No, Stretch. You're not to mention that I know anything about it.
Sorry. That grammatical carelessness will be the death of me.
It's been a very nice walk, Mr. Boynton, but we're nowhere near the zoo.
Well, I changed my mind about that, Miss Brooks. Before we left school, I decided that this being Valentine's Day, I'd like to take you to a restaurant for dinner.
Oh, wonderful. May I pick any place I want?
Well, that is,
I'd like to go to Turkey Heaven.
Go ahead, pick any place you want.
Say, now, this is a coincidence. Isn't that Turkey Heaven right ahead of it?
Well, that's right, Miss Brooks.
It's, rather expensive, isn't it?
Oh, money isn't everything. Come on, let's go in. Hey, it's a good thing it's early. We won't have any trouble getting a table.
Oh, fine. Look at that turkey being carried out of the kitchen. Isn't it a beautiful bird?
Oh, yes, it is. But, look, isn't that Stretch Snodgrass with that tray of glasses?
Yes.
Hi, Miss Brooks, Mr. Boynton. I'll pick up the glasses later. The maitre d' isn't here yet anyhow. How'd you like to sit at this table in the corner here?
Oh, fine, Stretch.
I know how it is when a couple are going to eat alone. They like a nice secluded place where nobody can see them. Then if they feel like picking up a turkey leg in their hands, who cares?
You're so right, Stretch. Now, if you'll just bring
You got it pretty fast, Miss Brooks. Hope you enjoy everything. Incidentally, I didn't spill the beans to you-know-who about your knowing about the 2 free dinners to you-know-what happened.
Stretch, go get Mr. Boynton a glass of water. And bring a couple of menus while you're at it.
Yes, ma'am. I'll get them right away.
Miss Brooks, I've decided there's no point in my trying to deceive you, so I'm going to come clean. Stretch gave me a credit slip for 2 free dinners here.
Really? Well, wasn't that sweet?
Here you are, folks. Water and menus. I'd like to advise you to read the menus pretty careful, though. The prices in here are mighty steep.
Oh, we don't have to worry about that, Stretch. Mr. You-Know-Who has a credit slip for 2 free you-know-what. Now, let's see. What shall we order?
Gosh, Miss Brooks, there's something I forgot to tell you.
What's that?
This slip isn't good on holidays, and today is Valentine's Day.
Oh, no, Stretch. That's terrible.
Oh, now, calm down, Miss Brooks. I'm not going to see you disappointed. Credit slip or no credit slip, this is one holiday we're going to celebrate and celebrate right. Well, Miss Brooks, what do you think of it? Isn't this a magnificent bird?
It certainly is, Mr. Boynton. Now come over here. There's a pelican in this cage.
As our Miss Brooks returns in just a moment, but first...
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl.
Tonight? Yes, tonight, show him how much lovelier your hair can look after a Luster Cream shampoo. Luster Cream, world's finest shampoo. No other shampoo in the world gives Kay Daumit's magic blend of secret ingredients plus gentle lanolin. Not a soap, not a liquid. Luster Cream shampoo leaves hair three ways lovelier. Fragrantly clean, free of loose dandruff, glistening with sheen, soft, manageable. Even in hardest water, Luster Cream lathers instantly.
No special rinse needed after a Luster Cream shampoo. So gentle, Luster Cream is wonderful even for children's hair. Tonight, yes, tonight, try Luster Cream shampoo.
Dream girl, beautiful Luster Cream girl, you owe your crowning glory to a Luster Cream shampoo.
And now, once again, here is our Miss Brooks.
Well, when the zoo closed, Mr. Boynton and I caught the 5 o'clock hamburger and headed for home. But as we passed a nice secluded bench, I stopped him. Look, Mr. Boynton, we may not be able to afford a fancy restaurant, but we can still celebrate Valentine's Day. After all, we are together. We have a bench in the park, and school is over.
But how can we celebrate on a park bench, Miss Brooks?
Correction, school is just beginning.
Show brought to you by Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous, caressable hair and Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, is produced by Larry Burns, directed by Al Lewis, with music by Wilbur Hatch. Mr. Boynton is played by Jeff Chandler, Mr. Conklin by Gail Gordon. Others in tonight's cast were Jane Morgan, Dick Crenna, Gloria McMillan, and Leonard Smith.
Doctors prove Palmolive soap can bring you a lovelier complexion in 14 days. Yes, 36 leading skin specialists proved in tests on 1,285 different women that Palmolive soap facials using nothing but Palmolive brought new complexion beauty to 2 women out of 3. Just wash your face 3 times daily with Palmolive soap, each time for 60 seconds, massaging Palmolive's beauty lather onto your skin. Then rinse. So start your Palmolive facials today. Remember, doctors prove Palmolive soap can bring you a lovelier complexion in 14 days.
For mystery liberally sprinkled with laughs, listen to Mr. and Mrs. North, the exciting, fun-packed adventures of an amateur detective and his beautiful wife. Tune in Tuesday evening over most of these same stations. And be with us again next week at this same time for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks. Bob Lamont speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.